Hi, my name's Max Mason, and I'm going to be speaking to you a little bit about Swinburne's Mental Health Week and some of their previous campaigns and some of the campaigns that I've come up with to help combat issues such as mental health, anxiety and depression and things like that. Moving on to the universities and mental health, you see that 87% of first-year students find it difficult to cope with the social or academic aspects of university life. We're seeing that 44% are struggling balancing work and study, and there's a 37% that are experiencing financial difficulties. We also see that female students find it particularly hard to cope, with 91% reporting to have struggled with one or more of these above issues, compared to 82% of male students. Swinburne's mental health campaigns, so some of the previous ones were Break the Cycle, which was a weekly cycling group. Another one of the previous campaigns was a campaign called Mindful, which is some mindfulness sessions that Swinburne were running. And then another one was a yarning circle, which is just a story sharing circle for Swinburne students. Moving on to my target audience, so I'm specifically targeting students aged 18 to 24 that are struggling with mental health or basically anyone of interest. For my first persona, we've got Adam, who's completing his Bachelor of Science in his third year, and he's an animal lover and just works at a cafe. But some of his main frustrations are not having the family support that he was used to during his VCE. He struggles with social anxiety, as well as the anxieties that derive from an increased workload. For my second persona, we've got Tilly, who had no motivation to really study for the few years after finishing school, but have just recently found that spark. But some of her frustrations were not earning a big enough wage for 2 days a week of work to support herself, and she's had to resort to a youth allowance as a means to meet those basic bills. For my third persona, we've got James Chan, who finished at Brighton Grammar with a 99.95 ATAR. He's always had an interest in architecture, but he lost his parents unfortunately when he was 3 years old. So he's just got that sort of depression and anxieties that derive from that, and he's also failing a few subjects at the moment and lacks a bit of support that he needs. So the Break the Cycle cycling group, some of the strengths that I found was that it supports healthy and an active lifestyle. It boosts endorphins. Students will feel better about themselves. It adds to a routine. But the weaknesses in that were a lot of students found it difficult to exercise. Students may not have access to a bicycle, and it only targets students that are specifically into cycling. Mindful, the sessions, gives students an opportunity to expand their knowledge on mental health. It gives them a strategy in how to combat their mental health issues. Some of the weaknesses was some students would be in denial about their mental health, and some stubborn students would repel thoughts on opening their mind up to the greater extent. And finally, the yarning circle, the sharing stories. So the strengths on that was a great way to get large groups of students involved and also boost the level of communication within the group. But some of the weaknesses for that one was some students may not be competent speakers, and students may be frightened to attend due to social anxieties. On a broader scale, I looked into the You OK Mate Lad Bible campaign, and it reached out to thousands of people. It was incredibly successful, but it only gained the attention of about half the British community. So you could say that's a weakness in some way. For the next one, it was the In Your Corner Time to Change, and some of the strengths in that was that it supports getting friends involved to help eliminate the stigma. Also breaks down the barrier when it comes to men speaking openly about mental health. One of the weaknesses in that was that men may feel as though they don't need anyone in their corner, as they can overcome the hardships in silence, which is not the right way to go about it, but is reality. Another one was the Here For You Instagram hashtag. I think this campaign was quite successful because it spread the word quite quickly through social media. Here's one of my positioning maps where I've added in 3 of my concepts amongst the ones that I've just spoken about. And basically this one's stacked up against target specific groups, against unifying all groups, and then social media oriented versus websites and commercial based. For my second positioning map, it was about less participation versus greater participation, and then from the left provides messages compared to providing resources. My first campaign idea that I came up with was a wine and art night, and here we've just got a list of names and ideas that I had for it. My second one was an exhibition that would boost awareness about mental health through the exhibited works from the wine and art night, and specific sort of other installations and artworks that could be exhibited. And my last campaign idea was a petting zoo, where we could set up a mobile zoo out the front of the library in the atrium, where it could act as a bit of a stress relieving viewing for students during exam week, or in particularly Swinburne's mental health week. So the names that I decided on were Cognitive Canvas, Nevermind, and Rabbit Relief. And Cognitive Canvas was a campaign that is targeted at more of a creative demographic of students and teachers at the Swinburne University who were struggling with mental health issues. Nevermind was the exhibition that was targeted at all students and teachers to attend the university and have an interest in Swinburne's Mental Health Week. It was basically just to boost awareness and to exhibit meaningful artworks and installations that hold positive messages and provide a positive vibe. And then Rabbit Relief was the petting zoo campaign idea, where the mobile zoo would be set up with rabbits and other various animals that to lower stress levels of students during Swinburne's Mental Health Week.